Shalom. So we're gonna discuss the key duty of other wives or women in polygyny, right? So we're gonna go to Genesis 38, 16 and 17. It says, "And he turned unto her by the way, and said, Go to, I pray thee, let me come in unto thee. For he knew not that she was his daughter-in-law. And she said, What wilt thou give me that thou mayest come in unto me?" So what happened is, we know this case, but let's deal with our people today, right? We always try to start quote unquote relationship with sex, right? Women don't tend to get into important details because we know that there can be consequences after the sex, right? So this is why you need to be reassured that okay, you know what's going to follow, right? You cannot just start with having sex or start exchanging sweet words because it gives you a feeling, you get an emotion from it, right? So even in normal relationships, women still need to be reassured of these things once you're thinking about getting involved with someone, right? So as you can see here, she said, What wilt thou give me that thou mayest come in unto me? So you have to always secure that. But we live in a culture where if the woman asks or demand something, they are being perceived as a whore, right? But yet, there are so many women having sex and just meaningless sex and think they are not whores because they're not collecting money. So they think the women on the streets, on the street corners, just in all those short things are whores because they're doing the sex for money. When women who are in these big jobs don't have a man at the home, but they'll just pick up a guy here and there. They don't think that they're whore because they're independent and they're not doing it for the money. But you're doing the same activity. So why aren't you a whore? It has nothing to do with what you're receiving. It's about the activity. Different men, the sex, right? That is what makes the whore. So nothing is wrong with a woman securing, and this is why you see even the whores on the street, they are the ones that are always winning. Why? Because if they know that they're doing this for money, before the man can even touch or before she takes off her clothes, guess what? That money has to be handed to her because she knows what she's doing it for. A lot of our women who grow up in homes where they were being shadowed or sheltered, they have no clue what they're doing. So when they get out there, as they meet a man out in the streets, boom, and that's it, right? They had no proper wisdom of how to navigate in the outer world. You were shadowed or sheltered by your religion or whatever, your parents were doing in the home. They were not really protecting you by giving you the wisdom. So at the end of the day, if you end up leaving your father or your mother's house to go to a man, guess what you would be getting from that man is should be enough for you to not go back to your mother's house. And this is the problem in this society. How many of our women, when they leave home to go to a man, they end up back in their parents' home? That's disrespectful, right? And even the problem with the Roman marriages, when you get a ring, even if you were to divorce, you cannot sell that ring to buy a place for you to stay, right? It's not enough. It's an illusion, right? So you have to secure. This is why women in scriptures, they're always doing what? What were they jealous about? Bringing in a son, because that would be their, what you call it now, to get this inheritance. You understand? This is why they always fight to get a son. They always want to get a son because they know the importance of that when you're dealing with a generation or passing on the genealogy of that person, especially if that person is an honorable man. That's the only thing you would want to do. You want to please the king. How do you please the king? By giving him an heir, not a daughter, giving him a son. So whatever he has would be going on through his sons and his sons' sons. It's the same thing. So women need to change their concept about whore or having sex for things or whatever it is, right? Verse 17 says, and he said, I will send thee a kid from the flock, right? We know what a goat worth in this time period was worth in this time period is not the same as today, because if you get a kid right now, it's not much, but it's just to, you know, correlate the two cultures, right? So what would be enough for you today? You get a piece of land from what the man has, and you know that you're gonna raise his son there, right? Those things are what you have to use. Not even a car is enough, right? It might be, what's the word, convenient or stuff like that, but it's not enough, right? Now, also, when you're getting in, once you're going to be active with someone sexually, you have to always be prepared for the unexpected. Even if you think that, okay, no, I'm not going to get pregnant and stuff, once you're putting yourself in that position, you have to be open for the consequences that it might be a possibility. So you cannot neglect the fact that whatever. So you have to always be thinking about the son, the child that you're going to have for this man, even if you think it was not your intention. Most of us as black people, most of us came by mistake. There's no debating that, there's no argument about that. Even if your parents are married, it does not change the fact that a lot of us came by mistakes. And we know the greatest people on earth are the ones that turn out to be the greatest, are always those ones that came by mistake. Right? Let's go to Genesis chapter 30, verse 3. It says, and she said, behold, my maid Bilhah, go in unto her, and she shall bear upon my knees, that I may also have children by her. Surrogate mother. So you see, it was always about being with an honorable man, a man that you respect, or a man that's honest and so forth. And you always want to give him a son. It doesn't matter what. So as a as another wife going in that picture, you have to always let that be your primary goal or purpose, right? Because you already see the man is established, he has all of these things, so now you can live a content life, and also you're sure that the child will also be okay, right? How many of how many women you know today that are getting into these positions with men who have high career, but they're facing the same struggles as a woman that is with a man that has a little job, or a job that can barely do anything, right? We need to get out the illusions of this society and stick with the wisdom of our fathers, the cultural wisdom of their time, not this time, right? What seems functional today is an illusion, right? Verse 9 says, when Leah saw that she had left bearing, she took Zilpah, her maid, and gave her Jacob to wife. So what? It was the same thing. It was just about giving the man a son. It was not about how um this sister is going to have more time with the man, or I'm gonna have more time with the man. They were never jealous about that. They were jealous about the son because it was always an inheritance. This is why today a lot of people get in relationships and never even consider, okay, where will we go? How will we do this together? Is our child, or will our children be struggling the same way just to get a piece of land, then to get a piece get a house, or to get some cattle, to get we never try to solve that part first. We start with the sex and then try to improvise. And we know how that goes. Because after a period of time, you get tired. It's the same thing over and over, and it seems as if nothing's changing, right? So this society is really backwards. It just gives the illusion that it is really functional. It might be functional for them, but we know to whom it is not functional, right? Genesis 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. 16. verses 1 and 2. Now Sarah, Abraham's wife, bare him no children, and she had an handmaid, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar. And Sarah said unto Abram, Behold, now the Lord hath restrained me from bearing. See, it was always about bearing children. I pray thee, go in unto my maid. It may be that I may obtain children by her again, surrogate mother. And Abram hearkened to the voice of Sarah. So you see, when you're getting in this situation, you have to always consider that this will be a possibility, right? And it doesn't only apply to polygynous relationships, but even one-on-one, right? Because a lot of you are getting into one-on-one thing, but never really planned on the bearing children aspect, or thinking about how you would avoid it, but still things do happen, right? You want to be sure that even if you get pregnant for this man, the child will be secure. The inheritance is already secured, right? So this is important for a woman to consider. Also, women have more things to lose than a man. This is why when a relationship ends, a man can start over instantly, whereas the woman has so many things to consider, right? Not saying it's functional for the man to move on like that, because you still have to deal with, the traces of what's left in the body after the relationship, right? The healing process and so forth, right? And also to see what knowledge and understanding and wisdom you gathered from that experience, and to incorporate those lessons in your next relationship, right? But a woman has a lot more to consider. A woman has a lot more to lose. So when you think about what you can lose, putting yourself in these positions, you will make a proper decision from there, right? Polygyny or monogamy, it's the same. Women, you have to look out for these things. Shalom.